Today on Sledhead 24/7. If you're a snowmobiler, you've probably heard of Fox. We'll show you how to set up and adjust your Fox Shox with Artic Cat's backcountry athletes Rob Kincaid and David McClure. Skidoo is breaking ground with the industry's first throttle-by-wire system called Intelligent Throttle Control. Mack and Fish evaluate the Artic Cat ZR 7000 Sno Pro, a true ditch banger tapping in at 135 horsepower. And find out how Ziegler Cat has been paving the way for more than 100 years. Sledhead 24/7 starts now.
We've got the biggest, baddest snowmobiles money can buy from the OEMs, and we have talent fish.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host Carly Applin, and this is the show all about snowmobiling. Now, if you're a snowmobiler who rides Fox, then we have the how-to on setting up your Fox Shox that come equipped on your Artic Cat Pro Cross and Pro Climb chassis. Take a look.
Jeff Fisher here, and I'm at Artic Cat's Mountain Test Facility. Today we're here to talk about the Fox Float 3s that come on Artic Cat's Pro Climb. Joined with me today is Rick Strobel, Fox's race manager as well as technical expert. Also I have Rob Kincaid and Dave McClure, who are Artic Cat's backcountry experts as well as hill climb racers. What we're going to do is going to talk with these guys about real world situations with your Fox Shox as well as all the technical with Rick.
So we got this brand new Artic Cat. Rick, what's the first thing I do when I bring it home?
First thing you got to do is you got to get the weight off of the skis or off the track. A couple ways you can do that is either by lifting the sled with a sled lift, or you can roll it from side to side, whatever ski that you're working on or rear track shock you're working on.
So Rick, we got the sled lifted up. Can you show us the proper way to set the air pressures in the shocks?
Sure can. First thing you have to do is remove the cap on top of the shock absorber. Next you want to do is you want to hook up the hose onto the shock. Now that we have the pump hooked up to the shock, you see that the gauge has risen. We recommend starting pressure on this sled is at 90 psi at room temperature or in your shop.
So now you've showed us the proper way to set the front shocks. Is it pretty much the same deal for the rear? And where do we start as far as the pressure?
Yeah, it's the same way to adjust the rear shock. The recommended starting point on the rear shock is 150 psi at room temperature.
Now we have Artic Cat's HCR, which HCR has Fox Float 3 with the EVOL chamber. What is the EVOL chamber, Rick?
EVOL chamber is an extra chamber that allows for more adjustability.
So in other words, you're saying guys like Dave and Rob could really appreciate the tunability?
Yeah, definitely. A guy like Rob, you know, he can adjust the EVOL chamber differently for his riding style compared to myself or anybody else in the general riding public.
So Rick, what's the difference between the EVOL and the Float 3 that we talked about earlier?
EVOL chamber is the main difference. You have two chambers now instead of one.
So when you're saying two chambers, does that mean that there's air in both chambers? Evidently, there's two Schrader valves.
Yeah, exactly. You have chamber number one, which is your EVOL chamber. That would be the first one you'd fill. And you have chamber number two, which is your second chamber. That's your main pressure chamber.
I like to ride a little bit harder and a little bit bigger than everybody else, so I've always ran about 170 pounds of air in my EVOL chamber and about 90 in chamber number 2. What's your recommendations on that?
The recommended factory settings for this on the HCR is 85 and 150 is where we recommend to start them at.
All right, guys. Well, we've done enough talk here in the shop, and you guys have showed us how to put these together. And I think it's time that we go out on the mountain and do a little bit of riding.
Okay, Dave, now Rick wants to make some changes. What do you think it needs? What do you want to try to have it do?
You know, I think we just need to take the air pressure down just a little bit so it's going to roll into the mountain a little bit more, make it easier to side hill.
How much, now to let out, what would be an increment amount?
You know, a large adjustment will be about 5 pounds. A small adjustment will be about 2.5 pounds.
Now, Rob was saying he wanted to get up, he was pounding the trails, it felt great, but now he wants to go side hill. He wants to soften it up a little bit, get it to roll a little more.
First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drop the air pressure about 5 to 10 pounds in the evol chamber. That'll allow him to get in the hill a little bit easier, make it roll up just a little bit easier for him.
So what do you think, Rob?
Well, I really thought it was awesome today. That Float 3 Evol is phenomenal. It hammers the holes, it side hills, and it's so easy to adjust. I couldn't believe how we could just do a minor adjustment and I was just kicking butt out there. It's awesome, Rick. I'd like to just thank Fox for teaching us as athletes and, you know, the consumers at home how easy it is with these shocks.
Okay, it just shows the commitment Fox has to show everybody and educate the consumer as well as the racers on how to properly set their shocks, to optimize our ride, redefine our limits, and go out and have fun.
Taking the time to dial in your Fox Shox to match your riding style only makes you a better rider. More to come on Sledhead 24/7. Don't go anywhere.
Still ahead, Mack and Fish ride and evaluate the Artic Cat ZR 7000 Sno Pro. See how ITC on the Ace 900 from Skidoo is changing the way we can ride. And find out why Ziegler Cat has been committed to customer success. Sledhead 24/7 is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Polaris, terrain domination. Ram, guts, glory, Ram. Fox, redefining ride dynamics. And by Stud Boy, traction with an attitude.
Welcome back to Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin. Ziegler Cat has been leading the way for more than 100 years with exceptional service and the best equipment. Ziegler Cat will help your next outdoor project get done with ease and satisfaction. Take a look.
For fans of winter, it's been the best of times.
We have had one of the worst winters ever. If you're in the snow equipment business, it's a great year.
At Ziegler Cat in Columbus, Minnesota, plowing snow and clearing the roads are just one point of pride.
Well, obviously it's pretty important to have reliable equipment for snow removal, and we take a lot of pride in the equipment that we offer and the support for our snow removal equipment.
Ziegler's extensive equipment list features wings, plows, and blowers, the ultimate tools for snow removal contractors.
Minneapolis Airport, an airport that's known for never closing. Their snow removal is done with Cat equipment, and the reason they invest in Cat equipment is because they get the work done the fastest with the most availability, which is uptime.
For 100 years and going, Ziegler's provided the heavy equipment to do the heavy lifting in the upper Midwest.
Ziegler Cat is one of the oldest cat dealers, and Caterpillar represents value. Everybody can make a piece of machinery and make it work, but Caterpillar builds a machine to last more than one life.
We at Ziegler Cat feel our people are the best. In our shop here, we have well over 100 years experience with our technicians.
The training and the ability to solve the problems that pop up with the different kinds of technology they're working with.
The Ziegler Cat rental store can handle any job with the largest dedicated inventory of legendary cat power.
We're fortunate to have the resources in this dealership to be able to have a fleet of equipment that's large, late model, well serviced. They like to rent from us because we have competitive rates and it's very productive and keeps up and running.
This engine here is about to go back into this 980G loader, and this loader is part of our certified rebuild program where we strip the thing completely down to the frame. All major components get rebuilt, and anything that needs to be repaired at that time can get addressed.
The customer used up the first life. Our product support team is building a second life back into that machine.
You know, this is a great example of how our experienced technicians get to be completely involved with the machine in and out.
No other brand can have that done at such a reasonable cost. We'll warranty it like new, and they'll be able to produce and provide with that machine like a new machine. That's Caterpillar. Well, as a sales manager, the number one thing that our team sells is our product support, and a major part of product support is parts availability. And Ziegler has almost 99% of our parts available in 24 hours.
When it comes to getting parts when you need them, we can provide them with our extensive shuttle system.
The owners of Ziegler's investment into this area has gained us a foothold in the marketplace up here that so far nobody's been able to replicate, and it's brought some great business to us, and it's helped make our customers very successful.
For more information on Ziegler Cat and how they can help you with your next big project, head over to our website where we've set up a link. Now, some of the brands and their model names might be confusing. You might ask yourself, what's the difference? Don't worry, we're gonna help you decide what sled is purposely built just for you.
You know, a lot of times when you pick the brand that you like, there's a lot of different choices in the model lineup. Let's look at the Polaris RMK line. Right now you have the Polaris 800 RMK Pro, Polaris RMK, and you have an 800 RMK Assault. First, the 800 Pro RMK. That is a benchmark for mountain snowmobiles. That's Polaris' most flickable, agile snowmobile.
To me, it's a great sled, does a lot of things, a lot of key features, flickable, lightweight, durable.
It's got Walker Evans shocks on the front, Walker Evans coilover on the rear. It's got the low inertia belt drive system. It's their lightest at 417 pounds.
The guy who wants the biggest, the baddest, that is the sled for him.
Difference to the RMK is the weight. The RMK is 435 pounds. It does not have the low inertia belt drive system.
So basically what you don't get is you have a chain case rather than the quick drive, and you have the Ride FX shocks over the Walker Evans shocks. The Walker Evans shocks are a little bit more of the higher performance shock. Not that there's anything wrong with those Ride FX shocks.
800 RMK Assault is more of like the ditch banger meets mountain sled. That's if you're gonna go jumping off cornices, dropping in, pounding it repeatedly, really hard.
A couple big differences over the regular RMK is it's a wider front end, which is adjustable. It has race developed front end, sprung and valved quite a bit tighter in the suspension.
So if you want to go in and just pound it all day long, and you're not necessarily going to be going just typical mountain riding, boondocking, going through the trees, going all over, at 435 pounds with the Walker Evans shocks and the piggyback rear, that is the snowmobile for you.
Polaris also has a really cool thing on their website. They have a configurator, which there again, you go in, they'll start with a full model lineup, and as you put price point, riding style, and performance, as you go down, it'll fill in your motor options, your chassis options, and help pick a sled for you.
More to come on Sledhead 24/7. Don't go anywhere.
Still ahead on Sledhead 24/7. Intelligent Throttle Control is a game changer with the Ace 900 engine package from Skidoo. And eat up the trails with Mack and Fish as they test and evaluate the Artic Cat ZR 7000 Sno Pro. Stay tuned. Sledhead 24/7 is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. FXR, world-class outerwear. Arctic FX Graphics, make it yours. GoPro, be a hero. Michelob Golden Light, you're golden. And by Skidoo Snowmobiles.
Welcome back, sledders. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and coming up next, we're gonna evaluate this sled, the Artic Cat ZR 7000 Sno Pro. Take it from me, this is a true groom trail and ditch banger special. Take a look.
Today we're out riding Artic Cat ZR 7000 Sno Pro. And the 7000 motor is the Yamaha motor.
I really like it. It's a C-Tech 4, and what does that do? That's a marriage of Yamaha engine with the Artic Cat chassis. And what does that give you? Obviously, great reliability, virtually no maintenance. You don't need much fuel because the thing only sips it. It is a fantastic trail machine, Fish.
No, it is. And you know what I think we got to do is go put some more miles on this.
Now let's go.
Artic Cat ZR 7000 Sno Pro. You can get it in green or you can get it in orange. Both fantastic looking sleds.
This has got the new C-Tech 4 Yamaha engine in it. Not a new engine, but it's a new marriage in this chassis.
This sled is really a fun sled to ride. I mean, I've always loved that Yamaha motor. More fun to drive.
What I really like is the reliability. You know, after a few years of riding these, which I haven't, they're ultra reliable. Virtually no maintenance.
On the trail, they are so nice to ride. This thing lays so flat. With the Fox Float 3s on the front of this, you can adjust the air pressure to give you whatever roll you want or don't want.
Riding a trail sled, I want it to corner hard. I want it to grip hard. I want it to have a nice, positive feel.
The low-end pull on this snowmobile is fantastic. In and out of the corners, this thing is an absolute blast to drive.
You know the C-Tech 4 engine from Yamaha? I love that growl it's got. It's got that low, mean 4-stroke rumble. I mean, it just says, I mean power, I mean business, I mean bottom end pulling you. It's just like a rocket.
Gotta love that 4-stroke power. When you get off, you get a handful of this thing, and the Fox Shox rear suspension handles the bumps, especially the small trail bumps are real nice. And also even the big crushers you can get dialed in and get the thing running real well.
You know, to go along with that acceleration, you get that great bottom end, what you need is some traction. Artic Cat went to the 129-inch track. When you get into the small bumps, they're getting closer together, farther apart, they're different variances. That longer track helps to get on top and span it, and you can skip right over the top of it. It's got the Pro Cross chassis. It's got the slide action rear suspension. It's got Fox Float 3 shocks up front, sucks up the bumps. Fox has done a great job. The calibration is mint right out of the box. For a trail sled, this thing's a home run.
The handlebars are perfect height. All the controls are up top here. The hot grips are nice, easy to use. Nice new digital gauges. They give you a lot of information from air intake temp to your fuel, the mileage, the trip, the clock, tack. Tells you probably more than you really need to know.
Ergonomics are great. I'm extremely comfortable sitting up and down my transfer position.
All in all, a pretty dang nice package that Artic Cat has put together here.
Artic Cat did a fantastic job. If you want a trail sled with the 4-stroke, the 3-cylinder Yamaha C-Tech 4, this is a sled for you, man. It rocks.
With an all-new C-Tech 4 engine producing 135 horsepower, you're sure to have fun wherever you point the sled. Now time for a tech tip brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter.
Jeff Fisher here with this week's K&N Tech Tip. I want to talk to you about trail safety and etiquette. First thing, stay to the right. Blind corners, you name it, left, right, keep right. It'll make it a lot safer. Secondly, know how many people are within your group, so when you do look back, you can count headlights and not leave anybody behind. And also, hand signals. We got people coming along, coming at us. What are you going to tell your riders behind you? What that's doing is telling everybody, get over, there's oncoming traffic. Secondly, we want to tell everybody, the oncoming traffic, how many sleds are behind us. So what we're doing is telling how many sleds are there. Unless you have more than 10 guys, what are you doing? Or more than 5 even. You do is flash your hand. Don't take both hands off the bars or ride like this. That could get really unsafe. Next thing we want to do is tell people we're slowing down. What are we doing when we slow down? Typical slow down, left turns. Straight out and a right turn. Straight up, and if we're stopping is straight up. Most important, oncoming traffic, last guy in line should be given the 1 signal. And that's saying nobody more behind you. And that's this week's K&N Tech Tip.
Up next, we take a look at the Ace 900 from Skidoo, an engine with some eco-friendly features that fit a wide variety of riders. Stay tuned. Sledhead 24/7 is brought to you by Amsoil, the first in synthetics. Artic Cat, share our passion. C&A Pro Skis, ride like a pro. Bully Dog, more power, more pull, more bully. Spy, see better, feel better. And by Speedworks, straight up USA horsepower.
Hey sledders, welcome back to Sledhead 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin. Skidoo has an all-new way to tailor your ride with ITC, Intelligent Throttle Control. Here's your first-hand look at innovation at its finest.
ITC allows us to take and program that machine with a sport mode, a standard mode, and an eco mode to save fuel, whatever they choose on the trail. It's a 3-cylinder inline 4-stroke, same architecture, basically the same structure as the 600 with an extra cylinder drafted on.
New to this industry is a cableless throttle. So there's no cable, it's all electronic. So it's all sends a signal to the ECU and right to the throttle body.
There's a different reaction time for different modes. Some make the butterfly open much faster, give you better acceleration, a little bit more twitchy. Another mode, the standard mode, will slow it down a bit. It'll be a more smoother, linear, gradual opening of the butterfly. And then in the eco mode, it only opens a small percentage, but that's how they achieve the 23 miles per gallon.
To me, the eco mode is nice if you're just cruising around a little bit and you want to save the gas.
You have a standard mode, which is just pretty much so as the throttle goes, the butterfly goes, or sport mode gives a little more acceleration, a little peppier feel.
I was impressed with the power of the Ace 900, and at first I was a little nervous because 90 horsepower didn't sound like it was going to be enough.
You can set it on different settings and change that.
The Ace 900 is a 120-degree firing motor, which is the right way for a 3-cylinder 4-stroke motor to sound. It has a nice throaty, even cadence, and it's very appealing to the ear.
At the bottom end of the market, we've got the Ace 600. It's really covered that segment of the market real well with 4-strokes. Where we're missing something is in the middle, and that's where the Ace 900 fits in very nicely, because now they've got a 4-stroke power in a triple-cylinder engine that's a small, compact, lightweight overall package.
The 900 Ace, the torque of this motor is very impressive. You get on it and it pulls. It just pulls really strong from clutch engagement all the way up.
I think the Ace 900 is going to create its own market.
Ski-Doo continues to push the envelope.
Very simple, very easy, and it's all very intuitive for the rider.
Make sure to stay up to date with Ski-Doo because who knows what they're going to come up with next. So we're almost out of time for this episode of Sledhead 24/7. Make sure to visit us online at sledhead24-7.com for the latest videos. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Who knows, you might just catch us on the snow this season. I'm your host, Carly Applin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Next week on Sledhead 24/7, a special edition episode, Snowshoot 2015. From mountain riding with the best in the world to ditch banging with the pros, Sledhead 24/7's bringing you an unbiased look at the latest and greatest sleds for next year. We'll show you an in-depth report on which sleds come out on top as best in class. All that and more next week on Sledhead 24/7.
Hey Sledhead 24/7 fans, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube for the latest videos, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the most up-to-date info. And who knows, you might just ride with us this season.